In this podcast, Talking Aspirations by thefortunateone.com, will I, Jasmine Moradi, talk to our guests about their aspirations and what they do to reach their goals in life. They share their life stories and tips around what drives them forward. I hope that this episode inspires you to move forward towards implementing your aspirations. Remember, all positive change begins with you. Find your horseshoe, find your fortune at thefortunateone.com. We wish that your own designed The Fortunate One horseshoe bracelet will attract, empower, and inspire good fortune and protection into your life. Hi, Kristofer. Thank you for taking the time to participate in thefortunateone.com's podcast, Talking Aspirations. How are you doing?
I am fine. How are you? It's nice to be here.
I'm fine, thank you. And we are very happy for having you. We want to get to know you a little bit better. So start by telling us briefly about whom you are.
Well, I am a Swedish guy. My father is Swedish, my mother is Czech, and I've been living in Stockholm pretty much all my life, except a little bit working in Copenhagen and spending almost 2 years in Brazil in total on exchange and some other like vacation and training.
When you started school at 67 years old, what interest and passion did you have back then?
I think back then my only real passion was probably football, or what in the US they would call it soccer, but football was probably that was my big interest. I enjoyed nature. I watched like nature programs on TV and so on. At least I think, maybe not at that age, but at least a little bit like from school starting until 10, 15 years. I don't know. So I enjoyed nature and I enjoyed football.
But did any of those spark a future dream in you, like most people have when they are at that age?
I think football in a way is like, it was never that I was dreaming of becoming a player of the national team or anything like that. I don't think that's not what I remember, at least. But of course it was my big interest, what I wanted to work on and get better at. But then I started with some martial arts a year or two later, and then I started like going to the gym, and that's what I've been doing more or less since then.
And would you say during that period of time, did you have any role models that you looked up to that helped you, inspired you?
I think in after school in Sweden, you go to something called fritids. Like after school, you go to a place where there are not teachers, but there are activities, and I had some teachers there that I kind of looked up to. One who was really good at brännboll, it's like a softball, baseball-ish sport, and I don't know. I looked up to them a little bit, but not like a big role model, I wouldn't say.
And when did the dancing come in? Not afterwards. Like, were there any kind of indication of dancing?
I was very shy with girls, I would say, and I was also pretty shy with dancing in the very beginning. The first times I danced, I was maybe 8 years old. It was a party. You did something called tryckare.
Slow dancing.
Yeah, really slow dancing. But I enjoyed it, but and I was pretty good at it, but it didn't get it didn't stick. It wasn't a big interest of mine until quite a bit later in life, I would say. So around 20 years old, maybe I started really dancing more with salsa.
And we are getting into that because I've actually read your book, because in 2019 you published a book you call Manifesto to Myself, How to Stop Dreaming and Start Living My Perfect Life. And as I said, I read the book and it's very interesting as you're expressing similar thoughts as many of us. Tell us about the motivation behind the book. Why did you decide to write it?
It was something that, like when I looked back and checked the first draft of the book, it was actually I saved the document in like October 2013. So you can imagine it took 6 years to write it, but it didn't really take 6 years to write it. It's just that I started and I wrote maybe 30 pages, and it was supposed to be about habits, how habits can change your life. And then I didn't write on it for a long time, but then I decided, like, now I have to do something about this, and I have to I made the book into a proof of concept that if you do something every day, a little bit every day, then you will finish, then you will succeed. And so that's what I did. I started writing, just sitting down in front of the computer every day. And I wrote, it could be one sentence, it could be 2, 3, 4 pages, but at least something every day. And during this period, I also did more research. I read other books that inspired me, and I managed to finish the book, actually. So it was for me this proof of concept that if you do it, you a little bit every day, you will manage.
You write in the book in the beginning that you decide to write it to yourself.
Yes.
Explain that.
That is exactly about this proof of concept. I wanted to prove to myself that if you do something every day, you will make it, you will succeed. And it was because I had for a very long time been this kind of idea person. I think maybe a lot of people are they have a lot of ideas on how to, I don't know, create a product or do something, and they stay with this idea forever, and they die with this idea, unfortunately. And I was that person. I had many ideas on different businesses, different products, but I never really did anything. I didn't take the step, and ideas are pretty useless unless you do something with them. Original idea for the book was to write about habits and how habits can change your life, and then I decided to switch it to prove to myself that if I do this, if I can finish this book, that means it works.
And what was the feeling then when you finished it, when you reached that goal?
It really felt great. And then you, of course, you get into, during the process, you get into this kind of, you want to make it perfect. And wanting to make something perfect is also an obstacle to actually finishing it, because there's always this little sentence that you can make a little bit better. You can always include one more little chapter that would make it more interesting, but you also have to realize, like, this is good enough, and it's time to publish it and put it behind you, at least for a while. I'm thinking about making an updated version, but that will have to be for a later point in time.
And what was the reaction of people around you when you publish it?
I think the book is useful and helpful for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people walk around with these same thoughts that I had, and dreams and aspirations that die with them. So I think it's helpful for a lot of people, but it was really mostly for me. And it's self-published, the book, so it's like I don't expect it will reach a huge audience, but people seem to like it so far, and I think a lot of people recognize themselves in it, in many parts of the book.
Yes, I definitely did. So let us break it down. You've categorized the book around what you call the 5 big lies. And let us start with the first one, that we are told how to succeed in life in the early stage of our lives. So then I want to know, what model of happiness and success did you inherit from your social environment? And when and how did you realize you were living this life?
I think in a way I have been fortunate that my family has never really pushed very hard a certain, like, there are families who have a long line of doctors or lawyers or whatever, and they really want, it's like it's the duty to become a doctor or a lawyer or something. And I have never had this. My father was a dentist, my mother was a scientist, and of course, if it's high education that is required for those jobs. And maybe it was this that was not required of me, but what my parents maybe wanted, even though I never felt the pressure to go to like higher education. I could have done anything I wanted, I think. But I could also tell, for example, when I started on Stockholm School of Economics, that my father, for example, was very proud. And it is like, if you had a meeting with relatives, that he felt certain joy in mentioning it to the family, extended family, and so on. So it was a certain pride, but I was never pushed to do anything like this.
And as you mentioned, we both studied at the prestige University Stockholm School of Economics, where we both know that majority are living in this fantasy / pressure of succeeding either as a management consultant or starting the next unicorn. How was your experience at the uni back then? And what kept you motivated to wake up every day and go to school even during challenging times?
I think in a way I was a little bit of a, how do you say, an odd bird in school. I took my courses, I did some courses, I passed some courses, I did some good grades and some great grades, but I think I didn't have the drive and the motivation as others had, that they had this dream that they have to become this management consultant or work in finance or something. I enjoyed not all the courses, but some of the courses I enjoyed, and I thought it was interesting, but I think it was just like a continuation of school, something that you have to do in a way. And the reason I ended up in Stockholm School of Economics was not so much because I dreamt of being there, but because I took the SATs, högskoleprovet, and I got really 2.0, and my friend said, you have to go to Stockholm School of Economics. And I didn't really know what it was about, but I didn't want to study law, I didn't want to study medicine, and it was for me a good choice, and I never regretted it. It was a great school, and a great ambitious environment. You learned a lot, and of course you had long days studying sometimes, but you had friendships and you got through it with your friends.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. It is also like, because being in that bubble, even if, as you say, you didn't really have those expectations or pressure on yourself, it can create those feelings when you're along those kind of people. But you might have found, as you say, the right kind of friends where you saw the fun side of it.
Yeah,
the more friendship.
And I think when you are in that kind of environment where you create some kind of superhuman that you compete against, or when it comes to, like, you see someone who's a top athlete and someone who is studying at the technology and university as well, and someone is also an entrepreneur at the same time, and you create this image of someone who is all those things and also get the top grades in Stockholm School of Economics. So it's a bit weird. And also most of the people who come to this school, I mean, they have been the top students in their own school. So they kind of get to Stockholm School of Economics and get a slap in the face that, hey, you're not better than anyone else here.
Yeah, and everybody is, as you say, they're studying many different kind of things. They're involved in a lot of activities. In a way, I would say, still trying to figure out what is their destiny and what of those activities it's going to be like the most successful for them to continue. And In your book, you guess that around 80% of people don't really enjoy their job, but they stay because it's safe. You state in the book that what was considered safe is not safe anymore. And you yourself, you took the big step from going from a well-paid, successful digital marketing job after Stockholm School of Economics to a more uncertain career in dancing. You dared to break free from this lie. So what I want to know is, walk us through the exact day that you made that decision. And for example, what fears did you encounter and what made you take the leap anyway?
Good question. No, it's for me, it was a little bit of a process because I had been teaching dance parallel in the evenings to my work. So I was teaching dance for a while, and I was also teaching abroad in weekends, and I started to make money from this as well. But it was a process where I worked 80%. I shortened my working days, or I had one day off per week. And then I realized I'm still too tired to do both of these things. I have to make a choice. And it was, of course, it's very scary if you have a fixed income that is good, and then you're all of a sudden going to become a dance teacher and travel the world, and you don't know how, will you succeed? Will I be able to pay my bills? Because I had my apartment, and everything that comes with it. So it was scary, but I was lucky to have. I kind of phased myself out because I quit the fixed job, but I was working as a consultant for 6 months for them. So I still had some income, hourly based payment. But it's really this 80% that I mentioned in the book. I think it's somewhere around there. A lot of jobs that are people really just go to because they need the money. And if I find it hard to imagine that 100% of the people who go to Stockholm School of Economics, for example, that their childhood dream was to increase shareholder value for their clients. It's like it doesn't sound like this is my goal in life. For me, it's much better to. I see the joy in my students' face when they manage to do a move. I see the joy when they dance and they understand something and they get better, and the happiness that it spreads. I think it must be so much better than making your client some more money. Of course, they are happy too.
But that's what I'm going to ask you, is also what is it about dancing that makes you so happy?
Yeah, now we get into terms that are very dance specific in a way. It's about, for me, dance is about connection. You communicate with a person, and as a lead, I need to lead the follow to do what I want her to do. And I also need to listen to make sure that she is doing what I want her to do. And this creates a connection. It's the same as, I don't know if you've ever been riding a horse, for example, and you get into this flow, this rhythm where you just work as one. And it's really something special. And then you have the music, the connection to your partner and to the music, and just the joy of dancing. It can be hard to explain for someone who doesn't dance, but it's something very special.
And if you had the ability to go back in time when you were just in the beginning of breaking yourself free and start dancing, what advice would you give yourself with the knowledge you have today?
Do it. Of course, it was scary, and I have struggled at points, but I have never, ever regretted doing it. And I think that really people should try to do more of what they love, and they don't need to start big.
Why do you think then that people are afraid of going for their full potential, follow their dreams, or what I call figuring out what your destiny is?
I think it's because we are so indoctrinated in this thought that you have to study hard in school so you get into a good university. You have to study hard in university so that you get a good job, and and then you have to work hard so that you get promotion and so on. It's just all of this is a constant living in the future. It's like what you do, everything that you do now is focused on the future. It's never about now. I think it's a problem for society that we are so focused on the future only, and not on what we do now.
Now, let's talk about the second big lie, and it's connected to this one, is how we're seeking happiness through materialism and impressing others, but inside we are miserable as we're anything but ourselves. And I love the quote in the chapter that we buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like.
It's a quote. I didn't come up with it, but I think it's really true.
When did you realize this in your life, and how do you practice this today?
I have never been very focused on impressing others with things or clothes or anything. But I know there's a lot of people who it's like they need to absolutely buy brand clothes, and for me it's like I want something that is comfortable and works. And okay, I want it to look pretty good, but I don't care what brand it is at all. I think it's part of this consumption society we live in right now, or we've been living in for 100 years. It's once again indoctrination, marketing. We are made to feel that we depend on others for validation, and we need to be like everyone else, or maybe better than everyone else somehow. And we show that we are better by buying better clothes and a nicer car and so on.
What is it that made you then inside yourself to not being affected by this?
I think it's like, you taste the forbidden fruit. I was doing dancing, I was teaching. I realized I really like this. And then I started traveling to other cities in Sweden, and it's like, I really like this. And then I started traveling more in Europe, and it's like, oh, this is really nice. I tried this and I realized that this is something I really like, and it might even be possible for me to do it and do it full time. And I mean, I liked my job too, but it wasn't the same kind of passion. You don't see the same joy in the eyes of your client when you are in a business meeting as you see on the dance floor with someone who is dancing. So I think it's partly the fact that people don't even dare to try. They don't even dare to take this bite and try it. And then it's this expectations from other people.
We're scared to fail or being seen failed by others.
We're afraid to fail. And I think we're afraid to disappoint others, but we don't really realize that what other people want for us, at least the ones that really love us, is that we are happy. They want us to be happy, and we really need to realize this, because if we are happy, they will be happy. And if we do what we want, then we will be happy, and then they will be happy. It's an illusion that we have to make them happy by doing what they want, what we think that they want. And they really don't care what it is that we do, as long as we're happy.
Yeah, and success doesn't come with a strike, right? Like baseball, it's not like you hit hole one all the time. You have to fail to walk around and figure out what that inner destination or passion is. So now let's go to the third big lie, dreaming about the big break, the stroke of luck that will solve all our problems. And today's young people are obsessively seeking after the fast cash and the quick fix. But behind the doors, many are suffering from mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. Have you felt any kind of pressure, and how have you learned to cultivate success in life to prevent it?
I think I have sometimes dreamt of the big break myself. I mean, at points in time when I have been struggling, it's like, oh, damn it, I'm going to go and buy a lottery ticket, But I know also that the odds of making money that way are very, very, very slim. You will on average lose money. So it's really a bad bet. I don't know. I came to understand this connected to my book. If you work on something a lot, if you love something, you will do it a lot. If you do a lot, you will become good. And if you're good, you can make money. this is what I have been trying to follow as a guideline for what I do. Starting point is to love what you do, I think.
But this goes also like to the fourth big lie, which is about time, because you're explaining it, and I've experienced it also, like, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. But in a way, we don't have forever. And when do you realize that, enough is enough? Or when do you realize that I keep going because the diamond is now behind that door? In your book, you give yourself 3 great advice on how to try to find a balance between living entirely in now and still thinking about the future. Teach us.
First of all, like we talked about already, you have to do something that you love. That means that you're living now. You do something that you love right now. But we also need to think a little bit about the future, because what we do now, if I die tomorrow, then maybe it doesn't matter if I only do exactly what I want right now. So I need to think a little bit about what happens tomorrow and 1 month from now and 1 year from now. I need to make sure that I don't do any stupid things that makes my possibilities of having a good life tomorrow like lower those possibilities. And then, of course, if you assume that you have a good life right now and you enjoy life, then you would want to live as long as possible. So you need to take also a little bit of care with your health. You cannot only sit in the sofa and eat chips if that makes you happy, because then you will not live as long as you could. So you need to take care of your health, try to eat decent food and move a little bit so that you can live longer, because also if you cannot use your body, you cannot enjoy life as much as possible.
Great one. And last but not least, the big lie, the expectations that you feel from others. So no matter you being very secure and know what you want and being happy, there is still this expectations and the society. Walk us through that.
I think this is what drives pretty much everything around us, because the expectations from our parents and society in general, those are what makes us enter this path of least resistance. And least resistance is not what is easiest, it is what breaks the least expectations, I think. So Stockholm School of Economics is not easy, but it breaks very few expectations. Your parents will be happy if you go there in general. So that's what I mean with the path of least resistance. We take something that is easy because it doesn't break the expectations. And if your parents notice that you're happy, then they are happy, I think, or they should be.
Sometimes it's also about what happiness is for the parents.
Yeah, if you do what you love, then you're happy, and then most people around you will be happy for you too. They will be happy that you're happy. And this is what people around us don't care what job we have. They care that you're happy. If your partner sees that you are miserable every day you go to work, they don't want that. Of course, they want to have a financial security, so that they want you to make hopefully some money, but they don't need you to be a doctor or anything else, as long as there's food on the table and you are happy. It's more important. It's better that you're happy than you have extra 10,000 or 20,000 in your bank account every month.
So tell me, Kristofer, why do we keep living these 5 big lies? Keep teaching and communicating to our next generation. How can we stop it, change it?
I think society needs more people who wake up, who don't fall for these lies, or who break the expectations a bit. The more people who do, the easier it will be for other people to do it. It's very difficult for me to say if there's a tendency. I notice among people around me that there are people who don't choose the traditional path. I think it comes also with technology, possibilities with technology, that we can actually break free from this a little bit more. But it takes time, and I think it's slow in the beginning, but it could be faster over time. The more people who break free, the more it seems like it's possible.
And I think Corona has helped a lot, but let's not get into that. What would you say by far has been your biggest achievements?
I think it's the dance thing, maybe, to have been able to, at such an advanced age, break free and and become a dance teacher. A lot of dance teachers they start dancing very early. I didn't start that early, and with the kizomba, which is the dance I teach, I started 10 years ago now. So I made a pretty fast career in a way, and I've been to 60 countries and 150 cities around the world, like really everywhere. And it's also a dance that I have been breaking expectations in a different way, because it's a dance from Angola in Africa. Most of the teachers when I started dancing were black, from Angola, from Palop countries, former Portuguese colonies, or from Portugal. And in a way, I was one of the earliest white teachers, and I think I have had a harder time breaking through because of that. It has been kind of like reversed, not racism, but reversed preconceptions about white people not being able to dance. So I think it has made it a little bit harder for me than for some others.
But based on that, would you say that you see yourself as fortunate today, that you're living your purpose to the fullest potential?
I think I was fortunate to be born in Sweden, for example. I think I was fortunate to have parents that were not putting too much pressure in a certain direction. So it was maybe easier for me to break free than it would be for others. But I believe that you create your own luck. Luck is the result of taking chances and daring to take the step and working hard. If you work hard, you get opportunities. Like, those opportunities might seem like luck, but usually it's hard work behind. And I think I've been fortunate in some ways, but also I've worked hard to be where I am today.
And what are your aspirations in life in the near now? Your career, social and personal?
I will keep going with dancing for a while. I'm going to stay a little bit more in Sweden to teach here in Stockholm and other cities. So a little bit less traveling, and then I work on other projects. I have a friend, and we're working on some online courses that sold to an organization with a lot of members, and we will keep working on those courses. And we have other ideas too. So my goal is to keep working with projects that I think are interesting.
What would you then say, based on what you've been through, your thoughts, your amazing book, is your advice to others that want to find their purpose today, but are still struggling to figuring out, to people that don't feel they're all living their potential and they fear to follow this dream?
I would say start small. If you really enjoy doing something, I think you should keep doing it and do it more and more. But start small, and then see if you can start working with it a little bit. You don't need to quit your job immediately and then go for it. You can start small, work on it hard, and see where it takes you.
Great advice. And you love to dance, which is with music, of course, and I love to make people hype through music. So what music stimulates and motivates you, and why?
Right now I listen a lot to kizomba, the music I dance to, but I like a lot of different kinds of music. I've been enjoying through my years, like Bob Marley, Lenny Kravitz, The Cure, Depeche Mode, Aha, a lot of like really old music. But right now it's a lot of kizomba music related to the dance.
And you have many amazing quotes in your book. Which one is your favorite one, and why?
I think the quote that I always remember, and one of the ones that I really, really believe is true, is whether you think you can or think that you can't, you're right. So it's about your mindset. If you think that you can do something, then you're right. You can do it. If you think that you can't, then that's a mindset problem that will make you not achieve it. So you need to, first of all, believe that you can do something.
Very good one. And I also love the psychology of colors. Different colors have different meanings, puts out different moods in us. Which one is your favorite color and why?
Interesting. Yeah, you see, I'm wearing white. I like white. I think with colors, I'm a little bit boring. Maybe I wear not so bright colors. I wear more like beige, brown, and then black and white, and like greenish, like nature colors.
Even when you're dancing?
Even when I'm dancing, yes. No bright reds or bright blue, or no. But it's also it has a practical purpose. When I dance, it's usually black or white, because if you sweat, you it's less visible.
Thank you very much for sharing your life story and your aspiration with us, Kristofer.
Thank you.
Where can people buy your book, Manifesto to Myself?
They can buy it on Amazon in most bigger markets where they have print on demand. So amazon.com, .fr, .de, .uk, and ES, and so on. And there's also 2 books about dancing.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This is Jasmine Moradi from thefortunate1.com. I hope that this episode inspires you to move forward towards implementing your aspirations. Remember, all positive change begins with you. Find your horseshoe, find your fortune. At thefortunate1.com, you will be able to design your own horseshoe bracelet that we hope will attract, empower, and inspire good fortune and protection into your life.